Hey guys, welcome to the Positive Experience Podcast, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in living your best life. Today's segment is on the hard slog, where we shine the light on small local businesses. Hey guys, how you going? My name's Lecky Sisfer. I'm the host of the Positive Experience Podcast. Today is a segment called the Hard Slog, where we shine the light on small local businesses doing the hard work to help our local community. Today, our guests are Marcell and Emma. Welcome, guys. Appreciate your time here today. And where I'd like to start is way back when, before we get to Iron Armour, we'll spend a lot of time on Iron Armour, but I'd like to start first, perhaps ladies first, Emma, maybe where you were born, where you grew up, what your school years were. Give us a snapshot on that.
Yeah, so I was born in Seymour, which is a country town in Victoria, but I generally didn't grow up there. I did most of my growing up in Queensland, southeast Queensland, in particular Logan area.
Cool.
So, primary school and high school there.
Okay, yeah. So country girl moved up to Queensland.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Sel, how about you, mate?
Yeah, I was born in New Zealand in a small town called Putuara. Okay. And, spent some time there and then moved over to the islands, to the Cook Islands, and went to school there right up until, I think it was Form 2.
Yep.
They had it, which is year 8, I think.
Yep.
And then kind of came over to Australia, came to Melbourne, good old Melbourne. And
good man.
Went back to New Zealand, and then from New Zealand I went to Queensland, and then I'm back here in Melbourne.
Awesome. So a bit of a hopscotch there. So born in NZ, P-Town, I'm pretty sure is Wellington. Is that right? It's yep. Welly. Yep, Welly. And then over to the Cook Islands, then back and forth from Melbourne to Queensland, and then back to Melbourne.
That's right.
All right. See, I followed you there. So it'd be interesting. Tell us the story of, when guy meets girl. It sounds like it would have been in Queensland. Okay. Now, you guys are personal friends, so I know your home situation. There's a couple of kids now. So take us back to early days when Marcell scucks guy. How did that happen?
So we're traditionalists.
Great.
So we met in a nightclub. So it was pretty interesting time, I guess.
We were young.
Perfect.
Yeah, very young. Started our family young.
Cool.
Weren't really looking for anything and found the man of my dreams.
That's how it goes. It's one of those things. I met my wife on Bebo, so I'm sure you...
There you go.
So we all have a story. It's all good. Okay, so you have a beautiful family, if you don't mind. How many? What's their ages? Because I think it's important. We'll get to Iron Armour, as I said, but, you guys are real people with families.
Yeah. So we've got 3 kids, 13, 12, and 9. Boy, girl, boy. So
awesome.
Girls in the middle. Really interesting age. Having preteens or a teenager now. So,
cool.
Just getting to know them differently now as their personalities change and they're finding out who they are and stuff. And it's like meeting someone new almost.
Oh, I can imagine.
So there's some challenges there, but really awesome time just getting to know them and just seeing those little lessons that you give them when they're young and you can see that coming out in them now, that they're just naturally doing things that you hope they would. Kind of thing, and so that kind of stuff is really rewarding.
It's like the book of life. You got the pages that you're turning in the chapters of life, and you guys are a bit ahead of me. You've got a high schooler coming up soon this year, I think. So very exciting, but also a bit tentative too. There'd be a bit of nerves around that. But I'm sure that was going to be rock solid. And actually I think Marcell Junior's already in high school.
He's already in high school.
Okay, awesome. So let's jump forward a little bit now, and let's talk a little bit about the situation before the Iron Armour initiative started. Could you tell us a little bit, maybe work-wise, or what you're doing with your time before you're like, man, the pull was too strong. We just have to do this, otherwise I'm going to be so, angry, or I'm just won't have the life energy. So maybe Marcell, touch on what you were doing at the time before you bumped into Chris, and then you, Chris, Rochelle, and Emma decided to go all in.
I was a personal trainer. I was a personal trainer for a while, actually. And I got into personal training because I had an injury. And, my main focus before the injury was to be a professional rugby player.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put all my eggs in one basket, and until I had that injury, had a knee injury. And then when I had that, I realised I had to, really change, look at, what else can I do, just in case I don't heal properly from the injury. And then I became a personal trainer. So, that was interesting. I was pretty fortunate to have good mentors around me to guide me in the industry at the time. And I got into the industry when there wasn't many personal trainers around that there are today. And also, I was in the corporate sector. So I worked with a lot of corporate clients. So that was kind of my life. Before that, I also mentored trainers. I've mentored quite a few trainers in my lifetime as a personal trainer.
Cool.
So I felt that, a lot of trainers, when they were coming to the industry, they didn't have the right preparation. And then I'd help them out. And, and then there was a good time in my life. And then I caught up with Chris.
And that was that. So, we had a chat to Chris a bit earlier, and it's about 8-9 years now, running ARMOUR, this initiative. So, Marcell's working as a personal trainer who's also doing corporate sort of stuff. Give us a bit of an idea of what you were getting up to at the time, perhaps with a young family, Emma.
Yeah, so I've always kind of done the back end stuff for our businesses. So, just looking after the admin, looking at the time, we also had some personal trainers that what we in the industry would say are apprenticing under us. So
okay, cool.
Just checking on them and making sure everything they need is, just all that kind of stuff. So I was doing that from home while raising our little ones. We started our personal training business a month before I had our first child. So essentially, we've grown up being business owners because I was 20 when I had our first child, so just turned 20 actually. So so that's pretty much the life that we had, and we started in Queensland, and we moved here due to the floods that happened in 2011 up there.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty major floods. And then restarted it here. At the time that we met back up with Chris and Shell, was vice president at one of the local rugby clubs here.
Cool.
Also, and I think Chris saw a bodybuilding photo that you posted on Facebook, and that's how they realised that we were also in Melbourne. So they connected on Facebook, and then
that's how it
goes. Conversation started, and
man, that's awesome. So Emma, you're wearing a lot of hats. You're kind of in the Wizard of Oz. You're like Dr. Oz. You're behind the Iron Curtain, making sure that everything's running smoothly. So I think that's really important when you have something like this, because we all have strengths. So now that we are understanding a bit of the background, which is awesome, let's drive into the main passion that you guys are building at the moment. So primarily it's ARMOUR. I know there's lots of other interests. So give us an idea on how you guys are driving it and where you are now, perhaps to early days. Marcell, what would you say? So right now we have an idea of what ARMOUR is. Give us an idea on how you feel it's been pushing along in 2020.
Yeah, I think ARMOUR has grown over the years. I mean, going from a garage to having your program, in schools is, was a really good, good stepping stone for us. But not only schools, but also in the prisons, juvenile justice, we've been down that pathway. But where I kind of see ARMOUR is kind of maintaining the vision that we have, and kind of getting the right leaders on board to help grow that vision. It's kind of, where I see it now is it's a good spot to kind of just maintain the quality, but also grow the vision. So, at this stage we've got 2 hubs that we're launching in Queensland.
Awesome.
That's where we're headed to, and just being mindful where we're putting our time into.
Yep. And
also, collaborations or, consortiums. But, the heart of ARMOUR is for the community.
Yep.
Like it always has and always will be, about that person, that person that needs help, that's in need. So ARMOUR is just growing every day, but it's just about maintaining the consistency in what we're doing, I guess.
Absolutely. So, Emma, do you think you could elaborate a bit more on what iron sharpens iron, or, winning the game of life? I think those are sort of metaphors that make sense to me.
Yeah.
And for a 14-year-old kid that's listening to that, may not have, a good grasp of what that actually means. But that same kid, when they're 27, they'll understand, So it's a bit of a tough thing. So I guess in a nutshell, how would you describe iron sharpens iron, or winning the game of life?
Yeah, so essentially iron sharpens iron is about putting yourself around people that are going to make you better, and when you're able to take from someone the good things in them, and they can take those things from you, but then because of the respect you have for each other, they can tell you when you're kind of like off your goals or whatever it is. So it's really about being conscious about who you're around, and because ultimately in life, when you're around good people, you're going to more than likely, live the life that you want to live a good life. And so, and that also means that, it's okay for people to tell you something that might be hard for you to hear. Mm-hmm. But when it's coming from love, like, it's good, because then you can kind of get through that uncomfortableness and go, actually, might be something I need to look at, and then you can move forward. Yep. Whereas sometimes we wait to learn from our own experiences, but if you can learn from someone else's experiences first, then essentially you don't have to go through those things. And I think it's about teaching the youth to open up to those things, be around good people, be around people that have their best interests at heart first and foremost. Yep. And yes, we use the sport as a tool, but, we understand that not everyone's going to make, be an elite athlete at the end of the day. So that's where the game of life comes in, that every tool that we bring in to the programs is about setting them up that regardless of if you make it or if you don't, you're going to have a really good life, and you're going to be around good people, and you can create new goals, and you can get those goals because you've got really good tools. Yep.
I think that's a really good summary, because you're being accountable to the people that you hang around. Yeah. And if they're people that pull you up, then you all rise together.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think it's a life skill to be self-aware, to understand those sorts of things. And I would have loved to have had a program like that when I was heading towards early high school. But I just really want to give a shout out to that initiative, because it's really important. It's a life skill. That's that I'd really big pat on the back.
Awesome.
So moving along, I think having something like this is awesome, but it would have been coming from a lot of challenges, right? So when you go through something hard and you come out to the other end, you kind of look in the rearview mirror and think, man, that was hard, but I'm still alive. I'm not dead, and you pick up a lesson from that hardship. So maybe, Marcell, I'll put you on the spotlight here. If there's maybe a sporting injury, or maybe when you're training for the bodybuilding stuff, something at the time that you felt was really a big challenge, and maybe tell us a little story about that challenge and one of the lessons that you drew from that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'll talk about the bodybuilding, because it was something that I did do. And, there was a lot of, self-doubt, because you have to really put yourself out there, and then the commitment that you have to commit to be in the top 3 of Queensland, because I was in Queensland at the time, is a big ask. And obviously you have to go to a level that you've never been before to achieve that. So, when I did bodybuilding, it wasn't for, to look good or anything like that. It was more around a challenge. Yep. And I actually competed. The first time I competed, I came 6th out of 50, but I felt that because I cheated through that process. But then my coach said to me after that, look, if you really put your head down and really focus on it, there's an opportunity you could hit the top 3. And so I went, okay, let's have another crack at it. And I just learned a lot about myself, how far I can really push myself, how hard I can push myself. And then you realize that you have to really think about yourself and that. And that's because I come from a team sport, playing rugby. Yeah. It's all about the team. But in bodybuilding, it's about you. It's about, you can't depend on anyone else. they're not going to eat the right foods for you. You have to do it yourself. So there was a lot of high performance coaching that I did in that, like skills that I learned, like the power of visualization, really setting those goals and staying on track of those goals. And then look, I did everything I could do when I got to this comp that I did, the Queensland titles, and I came second in it. Although in my mind, I should have come first. But when you do go all out and you leave it all out, then the outcome that you get is you're happy with it because you did do everything you could do to get there. So that was a big challenge for me because, being a Pacific Islander, going on diets, like that's a tough gig. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Diet what? All the island food, all the good food. Yeah. But and then it kind of built me into the type of person that I am today in terms of like if I say I'm going to do that, I'm going to give it a good crack. Yeah. So, and that just goes back to your integrity, your word. So that was, the bodybuilding was a big one.
Yep. Yeah. It seems like that has shaped a lot of your perspective now, so you carry yourself a certain way after being challenged, so it's those things that don't break you, it definitely gets you stronger. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. No, it was a good time.
Yep. Awesome. So Emma, it may not be a health thing, like was there a particular challenge that you had learnt in helping grow Iron Armour that maybe you had some experience before and then you found, wow, this is pretty hard, taking 50 kids to Europe, for example, or maybe it's just simply learning, how to do some of the back end stuff, like you said, like keeping the books balanced, or maybe social media stuff. Like, what have you found as one of the challenges that's come to your mind? And looking back now, it's easy peasy.
Yeah. So, really interesting is that after high school, I went into an arts college and I did new media and design and stuff like that. And throughout our personal training business, I never used any of that stuff. So I'm quite like artistic and all that. And so I never really used any of that for our PT business. Besides a little, Instagram, Facebook stuff here and there. But at the time when we were doing the PT business, it wasn't really a big thing. Uh-huh. But by the time Iron Armour rolled in, it was starting to grow a lot. So that kind of side had to, start expanding. And then I realised only in the last year that, all those things that I'd learnt earlier that I'm now doing that. and
making use of that?
Yeah, making use of all of that. Which is really awesome because, I get to explore that creative side and, yes, like look after all the admin, but, yeah, just being creative is really important to me. And so, like, that kind of area of my personality is being fulfilled, which is really cool.
Awesome.
Challenges in terms of the kids and dealing with, making things organised for trips and the programs in general, has been interesting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And you kind of, some things you just got to learn as you go.
Yep.
But definitely have been able to, make that really cement the foundations of that now. So it's, kind of a bit easier as we do more and more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of one of those situations like if you jump out of a plane and you haven't got the parachute, you kind of got to get the parachute as you've already jumped out of the plane. Yeah. So we understand there's moving parts there, but your heart and the intention's in the right place.
That's
I think
right.
which is really important.
Yeah.
And to return back to the central theme of this positive experience podcast, there's good and bad, or positive and negative experiences that we all, Marcell's just shared some of his experiences, and you've shared some of yours. And the challenge is that there's always going to be the good, there's the bad, and there's the ugly in the things that we're trying to do. And so I feel personally we can start to weigh the negative experiences. It's like louder to you more so than the positive stuff. And there's a whole lot of things that are good in our lives. We can wake up, we live in a place that's safe, we drive on roads that's smooth, there's no potholes. You can, if you're hungry, you can just pull out your phone that has electricity and order Uber Eats or something. So we're really blessed. And if you get something like a snarky comment online, or someone says something, it was like he said, she said, it can really bring you down. So I think what's important is that we emphasize the things that are really good in our lives, because there's so many abundant things. So in saying that, what would you say is, this is a quick fire question.
Yeah.
What's something good in your life that you're appreciative of, and that you're grateful? What's something that's bad in the sense that you may not have it, but you like to have it? So for example, I'd love to be a great public speaker, something I'm working on. I don't really have that skill right now. And then something ugly is, something that you're working towards that no one sees. It might be the quiet little project that you got, hidden away somewhere. And then one day it could be the pretty thing. But right now, it's kind of rough clay. So let's start with the good first. So the good and the bad, what would you say, Marcell, is something that you're grateful for and something that you're looking to work towards?
My family.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm really grateful for my family that I have. And I've always, at the end of the day, for me, that's what I've been working towards, is just to be a good father, husband, good person, and just, that's all it was. I'm just really grateful for my family.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm sure you'd mirror that as well. Would there be anything else to add on top of that?
Definitely mirror that. But also the great thing about doing Iron Armour is exposing our own kids to it, and that, we've been able to, in Chris and Shell and the other leaders that we've got in the program, really expose our kids to just really good people that have goals, and just they're able to always see those things for themselves. It's not just like seeing it on the TV or something. And yeah, as I said before, our kids are getting a bit older, and you can really see those life lessons that we're teaching these other kids are also onto our own kids. And that's, for us, it starts with our home first. So it doesn't really benefit if we don't put in the time to our own family first, and so it's been really cool to see that they're getting those lessons, and they've got an uncle and auntie that they can turn to, that we know mirror what we say to them, and we can trust them and all that kind of stuff. So that's really, really good.
That's a really good point, because if your children that we love and that we're bringing up are surrounded in an environment that allows them to flourish, you're doing them the best service. And if you can see that in your own children, they can see that. And then at the same time, you have initiative that you're trying to offer this as well. That's why, I'm a big believer in the program that you guys are running. It's awesome, 100%. Awesome. So, those are great things. What's to work on? Let's just keep it simple. Don't worry about the ugly too much. But what's the main work on? So to buy you guys some time while you're thinking, it may be, numbers on a scale perhaps. It may be trying to get a bit more time for, Marcell and Emma time, maybe date nights, it may be, maybe the dream car that you're working towards, or... give us an idea on, what the finish line may look like. Well, not the finish line, or, the thing that's just a bit beyond your reach.
I can start if you like.
Yeah,
so on a personal level, I've had battled some health issues the last couple of years. So for me, it's definitely, getting control of that and looking after my own health. I've shared with Marcell in the past that, something that's I'm quite conscious of at the moment is that as you get older, your body can't do the things that, if you're not looking after it properly. Yep. And so I'm just, I'm quite young at the moment, so I need to kind of get on top of that stuff now and prioritise that, as a mum, and I'm sure other mums can relate, that it's okay to give yourself that time to, to be healthy and do things that are going to make you better in the long run for everyone anyway. So that's one personal thing that... I'm
down with that, Health is wealth, as they say.
Yeah.
So.
Putting the big guy under the spotlight here.
I think for me, it's more around just being patient, just having more patience. And as like for 2020, it's just around taking my time on big decisions, because I know that when I commit to things, then my time goes into it. Yep. And so and understanding that my time is valuable these days, it is. It's just being patient, being patient around decisions, especially the big ones.
Yep.
That's what I got to work on more. Especially if your organisation is growing, you kind of have to really look under the microscope, at what's going on and just take your time. That's patience.
That's a really good point, Marcell, because it may come across a certain way if you say, look, my time is valuable, and on one side of the coin, it could sound like it's a bit snarky or whatever, but it's not that. It's the other side where, you're trying to put your energy, your time and your energy to make something grow. And, if you look at, people that we all aspire to, big names, say an Elon Musk or Bill Gates, these guys wouldn't be doing a lot of the smaller menial tasks because they got to, if they make a decision, then everything else moves on that decision.
It affects a lot of people. That's right. Because, when you're at the head of an organisation, in any organisation I'm talking about, with your leadership, like whatever decisions you guys make, it impacts everyone else. So absolutely. You kind of got to look at it, because then you have to really take yourself out of that. And then that's why it's important to have the vision and the purpose. For us, there is we have to have purpose in our lives, because that's the vision we're trying to carry, it just goes back to patience. I mean, look, I made a lot of mistakes, and made a lot of bad decisions. But look, it's all good, because you just learn from it, and but just try not to make it. We're going to make mistakes, but try not to make the same one over and over again. Otherwise, you just end up in the same spot.
Man, awesome. So, guys, thank you for sharing that. I guess the last thing here, as we're starting to wrap up and finish, we could have gone for another 2 hours, I reckon, but is just any things that you'd really love to, get in front of the megaphone and sort of let everyone know, any initiatives that are coming up, things that you're proud of, any programs. We'd love to hear about it.
So I'll start with just some stuff that we've got coming up, and I guess Marcell can talk about, things that we're proud of. So things at the moment, we're currently in our recon program. So that's our spring-summer program. We're at the back end now, but there's still quite a few weeks left, and we've got some great discounts on them as well. So if you're interested in your kids doing the program, we do start from age 5 and go all the way up to elite athlete ages. And even if you just want your kid to do some fitness, you don't have to be sports-based, things like that, and just be around good people, that are kind of, saying what you're already saying to your kids. We've got some great discounts on that. So if you just find us on Facebook at ARMOUR Academy, then, just message us and, that you heard us on the podcast, and we'll give you some discount codes and stuff.
Awesome.
Also, we've got a family fun day coming up in March. So that'll be, I think it's the 14th of March. And all the details for that will be up on our Facebook page as well, and website, etc.
Cool. We'll link to that. Awesome.
Yeah, and then we'll have our New Breed Athletes Conference, which is a conference for young aspiring athletes and their families to come along and get some great tools and hear from current and past athletes or people in the industry of what it takes to do it well and live life well. So as you know, everything is about the game of life for us. So yes, we'll give you some tools on being an elite athlete, but also just living life well as well. That is a free event. So we'll give the details for that as well. That's awesome. On the 21st of March. And then after that, so over winter, we have our Armour Up program, which is our in-season program. So same kind of thing, but it's to support the athlete while they're in season.
Cool. Yeah. Lots of great programs there.
Yeah.
And then also what's coming up is we've got 2 tours that we're on. The first one we're going on is a Queensland tour. So we've got an under 13s team and an under 14s.
Wow.
That are going up to Queensland on March the 1st. We fly out.
Awesome.
And we're there for the week, and we're playing 4 of the top schools in Queensland. So we have that, and what's good about that, it's obviously a development program as well. Trying to upskill these kids and get them to see, to play, that the best rugby league players at the age group in Australia. So they've got access to that, but also they're going to get access to some of the top coaches in Queensland that are going to be facilitating a workshop just to give them extra tools around that. So it's just a great learning experience for them. And then we've got our tour to Europe, which is our big one. Yeah. And, this year we're taking our under 17s and under 19s. And look, the whole purpose of that is to really expose, these young people to the world, and just seeing that the world is it's a big place, and it's not just about where you're at right now. You got the world as your oyster, as they say, and so yeah, we're really looking forward to that. So awesome. And then the next half of the year we'll come back on the podcast and we'll
give you the update. Yeah. So, bang, bang. That's a heap happening. And I know Marcell and Emma here, they didn't touch on a few other initiatives in Europe, which is awesome. I know Marcell got a few stamps in the passport last year. So it sounds like there's a few more stamps to come. So, guys, I just want to thank you for your time today. The Positive Experience podcast is shining a light on the good, the bad, and the ugly and living your best life. This segment called the Hard Slog is shining the light on local small businesses. And they're real people, they have real stories, but they jump out of bed every day to push an initiative that they're passionate about, So I hope that the stories resonate with you guys. Check them out. Their handle is at ARMOUR Academy. They're very active online, and you can see their programs. Feel free to give a shout out to Marcell and Emma. They're really friendly, and you heard earlier from Chris and Rochelle. So we'll catch up with you guys next time. Cheers.